Episode 1. Something's Changed. 4 months into the alien invasion, a full-scale war has erupted, resulting in millions of human casualties. In response, various nations have united their forces to form the World Defense Coalition, or the WDC, led by President Mobote, who's determined to defeat the aliens at all costs. Signifying how dire the situation is, the citizens of Osaka, Japan are running in terror as the aliens, armed with spear-like limbs, hunt them down. Amidst the chaos, Mitsuki stands out, as instead of merely fleeing, she fights back, throwing Molotov cocktails at the pursuing aliens, eliminating many, and bravely rescuing several civilians. Unexpectedly, during her battle, she's forcibly taken by agents into a helicopter who inform her that they're taking her to the Amazon rainforest to meet their boss. Due to her deep-seated distrust and paranoia, Anisha, along with her children Luke and Sarah, have been living a nomadic life, never staying in one place for more than a few nights and surviving on stolen food. As a result of this treacherous lifestyle, the family is eventually captured by the military, as they have discovered that Anisha possesses a shard of alien origin that was found by Luke. Thankfully, as they're being transported to the military base, an unexpected rescue occurs. A group of advocates known as the Movement, who are labeled as anarchists by the government for their refusal to cooperate, free Anisha and her children. Nonetheless, despite assurances from their leader Clark of their willingness to help her, Anisha remains suspicious of the movement. Upon arrival in the Amazon, Mitsuki meets Nikhil, a notoriously egotistical billionaire who runs Dharmex Technology, a company currently conducting research on the aliens to aid the WDC. Having established a base adjacent to the first alien spaceship that they shot down 4 months prior, thanks to Mitsuki's assistance in making initial contact, Nikhil informs her that she could be humanity's hope in fending off the aliens. Before heading to the fallen ship, Mitsuki's introduced to Maya, a cognitive scientist tasked with performing a baseline test to monitor her mental health. Unfortunately, Maya is unable to complete the test, as when she begins asking Mitsuki about her love life, Mitsuki refuses to answer, clearly not wanting to discuss Hinata. When pressed by Maya, she storms out of the room, breaking down in tears, conveying her feelings of guilt over Hinata's death. Realizing that Mitsuki is too mentally unstable to attempt contact with the aliens, Maya pleads with Nikhil to stop her from going into the spaceship. However, he insists that they must proceed, as she could be their only hope, especially since Mitsuki herself is willing to try. With no other option, Maya accompanies Mitsuki to the fallen alien ship, and shows her a room at the center. She explains that this room appears to be the power source of the ship, and contains an entity which is directly connected to the collective alien consciousness. As Mitsuki puts on a protective suit and prepares to enter the room, Maya issues a grave warning. Apparently, every other scientist who has entered the room previously eventually lost consciousness and never woke up, due to severe neurological damage. Undeterred by Maya's warning, Mitsuki enters the room, where she quickly makes more progress than any other scientist before. The entity, which appears as a translucent, amorphous figure floating in the air, quickly approaches Mitsuki, seemingly willing to communicate. Amazed by the ethereal, almost ghost-like entity, Mitsuki's even more astounded when it plays Hinata's favorite song, Space Odyssey by David Bowie, assuring Mitsuki that it remembers her. Mitsuki's ability to re-establish communications with the aliens seems to have various effects around the globe. In a hospital in Paris, Casper, despite being in a coma, shows increased brain activity and unusual patterns of tremors, indicating that his mind might be connected to the alien consciousness. Episode 2. Chasing Ghosts. More evidence of Casper's revived consciousness crops up in Wellingborough, England, as Jamila has recurring dreams of Casper's voice, giving her hope that he's still alive. In one such dream, Jamila pleads for a sign from Casper, before looking up and seeing a red moon, leading her to wake up and wonder what it all means. The following day, Jamila's questions are answered when the military burns a substantial amount of alien spores, polluting the air and casting a red hue on the moon. Astonished by the sight, Jamila pens a farewell letter to her mother, informing her that she's heading on a quest to find Casper, convinced that her dreams have a deeper meaning. Upon reaching the hospital where she last saw Casper, Jamila finds it deserted, and after reviewing his file on a computer, she discovers that the WDC transferred him to a hospital in Paris. Realizing that she'll need assistance on her journey, Jamila seeks out Casper's friends, Alfie and Darwin, who manage to sneak away from their families to join her. With central London evacuated, the group decides to head to Monty's house, knowing that his affluent parents are likely to have a car that they could drive to Paris. While admiring the luxurious cars inside the garage, however, they're confronted by Monty and his younger sister Penny. After Jamila explains her plan, and due to Penny's insistence, Monty agrees to join the quest to find Casper and offers to drive them to Paris in one of his father's cars. Episode 3: Fireworks. Driven by the belief that Casper's notebook holds the key to resolving the alien invasion, Travante's marriage has fallen apart due to his obsession. Fueled by hope from the notebook, he remains undeterred and begins to decipher the clues within, leading him to infiltrate a military base in Idabel, Oklahoma, in search of answers. Unfortunately, this daring act results in his capture, leaving him confined in a cell at the sheriff's station. Frustrated by the premature halt to his plan, Travante encounters Rose, a staff worker at the station who is overwhelmed by the mysterious disappearance of numerous people from Idabel. Sensing her desperation, Travante persuades her to return his notebook, promising that it'll help them find the missing citizens. When Rose finally hands over the notebook, Travante tries to alleviate her skepticism by showing her a drawing of a star, which bears an uncanny resemblance to the badge of the missing former sheriff. To further convince her that this is not a mere coincidence, he reveals that the drawing is surrounded by various dates, all corresponding to the disappearances in Idabel. Convinced that Travante might indeed be able to help, Rose decides to release him from his cell, knowing full well that she's breaking the law in the process. Meanwhile, now that she's re-established communication with the alien entity, Mitsuki deciphers the coordinates of several invisible alien spacecraft within the Earth's atmosphere, prompting President Mabote to authorize a second missile strike against them. As missiles rain down on the alien spacecraft, the world watches in awe as the ships plummet from the sky. Among the spectators are the members of the movement, who rejoice as the nearby swarms of aliens fall to their deaths. When Anisha returns to their vehicle, she is horrified to discover that Sarah, who was ordered to stay in the car with the alien shard, is nowhere to be found. Reeling in terror, Anisha realizes that Sarah must have been kidnapped. Episode 4: The Tunnel. Sadly, the world's celebration over the successful attack is short-lived, as the grim reality soon sets in. Less than a day later, the aliens launch even more attacks and have also evolved into larger, faster creatures that are impervious to fire, making them an even more formidable threat. Remaining undetected by the military, Jamila and her group covertly enter a tunnel leading to Paris. Inside the tunnel, the group manages to survive a terrifying encounter with the evolved aliens, leaving them exhausted, but alive. With the aliens still in pursuit, Jamila seeks refuge in an abandoned car to rest, where she experiences another peculiar dream, giving her hope that she might be nearing Casper's location. When Jamila asks where he is, Casper reveals that part of him is with the aliens and expresses his despair at their increasing strength and his dwindling hope of defeating them. Jamila, however, encourages him not to give up, leading to a mutual promise to persevere, symbolized by them holding each other's hands. Upon waking, Jamila rushes to Monty, and together they devise a plan to navigate the tunnel using a rope to track their path. This strategy enables the group to locate the exit only to find it rigged with explosives. Realizing that the military is about to demolish the tunnel, and with the aliens closing in, they all scream for help, hoping to be heard by someone outside. Thankfully, their cries are answered as soldiers begin to create an opening for them, allowing them to escape through the hole one by one as the aliens close in. In the nick of time, Darwin is pulled to safety, albeit with a bite wound on his leg. With the group safely evacuated, the military detonates the explosives, collapsing the tunnel on top of the aliens inside. Episode 5: A Voice from the Other Side. While searching for Sarah, the movement, including Anisha, stumble upon military footprints adjacent to Sarah's, suggesting that the army might have taken her to the closest military camp. Burdened by the guilt over his sister's abduction, Luke confides in Ryder, Clark's daughter, and explains that his mother lied to the movement about their true identities, and discloses that Sarah was kidnapped due to the alien shard in her possession. Unbeknownst to Luke, a member of the movement overhears this conversation, leading to a confrontation where Anisha's true identity is revealed to the entire group, along with the fact that she's wanted by the WDC. In an effort to help Anisha, Clark claims that she revealed her identity when they first met, and he decided to keep it a secret, as the truth would have put her in danger. Recognizing Clark as a trustworthy and honest leader, except for this one instance, the members of the movement accept his explanation and decide to move past this unexpected revelation. Realizing that he was acting selflessly by protecting her, Anisha's faith in humanity is reignited as she begins to trust Clark, ultimately thanking him and promising to be more trusting of others in the future. Episode 6. Pressure Points. Now that Anisha has been accepted by the movement, they make their way to the nearest military camp to find Sarah, but Luke starts to experience sudden, intense headaches. When Anisha asks him what's wrong, he reveals that he hears incessant voices, warning him of nearby danger. Shortly after, Anisha is taken aback by the sight of a swarm of dormant aliens that start waking up, one after the other. A frantic chase ensues, during which several members of the movement lose their lives, and upon reaching a temporary safe spot, a distraught woman from the group cries out for her daughter, who is left behind in the chaos. Empathizing with the woman's fear of losing her child, Anisha bravely ventures back into the woods, where she finds the terrified girl hiding behind a tree, and attempts to bring her back. However, just as they rejoin the group, they're confronted by an alien, which is completely unfazed by Anisha's bullets. Still experiencing the strange sensation in his head, Luke steps forward to face the alien. Despite his mother's frantic pleas, he continues to approach it, shouting at it to stop, before mimicking its stance. Declaring that he has invaded the alien's mind, giving him power to prevent it from moving, Anisha swiftly picks him up and escapes to safety. Having left Darwin behind due to his injury, Jamila and the group finally arrive at the hospital in Paris, only to find it abandoned after an assumed attack by the aliens. Conveying their growing affection for each other, Jamila and Monty hold hands and persist in their search for Casper, when suddenly they hear a strange sound. Following it, they're astounded to find Casper, sitting alone on the floor, engrossed by a drawing on the wall. Overcome with relief, Jamila and Alfie rush to envelop him in a heartfelt embrace, now assured that their journey was not in vain. Episode 7. Down the Rabbit Hole. Guided by Casper's drawings, Travante and Rose discern a pattern of disappearances that can be traced to a spiral on a map. Venturing to the center of the spiral, which is supposed to be a local farm, they're surprised to find it commandeered by the military. Driven by curiosity, they stealthily infiltrate the area and observe the military personnel peering into a mysterious hole in the ground. Unfortunately, once Rose tries to record the perplexing scene, they're spotted and eventually captured. Hoping that finding Casper would shed some sort of light on their situation, Jamila and the group realize that he's severely disoriented and suffers from significant memory loss, leaving them with more questions than answers. Exploring the hospital further, they discover a drawing on a wall depicting several children, along with a document that labels these children, including Casper, as exceptional, hinting that they all possess unique abilities that let them communicate with the aliens. Upon leaving the hospital, the group finds a safe location and strategizes their next step to locate the other exceptional children. Turning her attention to the quiet Casper, Jamila attempts to jog his memory by showing him his drawings and listening to their favorite music together, which seems to work to some extent. In this moment of tranquility, Jamila seizes the opportunity to share her first kiss with Casper, all under the watchful eye of the obviously jealous Monty. Episode 8. Cosmic Ocean. Following the voices of the exceptional children in his mind, Casper discovers a hidden corridor, and leading the group through it, they find themselves in a room where the exceptional children and the doctors who've previously treated them are hiding. Having feared that Casper's mind was gone for good, they're all in disbelief to find out that he's still alive. With Mitsuki's mental health severely declining, Maya confronts Nikhil and dares him to approach the entity by himself, instead of putting everyone else's life in danger while he watches from the sidelines. To disprove Maya's accusation, Nikhil ventures into the entity's room alone. This results in him being consumed by it for a few moments, during which tremors can be felt in various locations around the planet, including Idabel in Paris, before expelling him and leaving him unconscious. Under pressure from President Mabote, Mitsuki realizes she has no choice but to confront the provoked entity without any form of protection, understanding that she's the only one the entity will permit inside. Surrounded by the entity's energy field, Mitsuki finally comes to accept that her beloved Hinata is gone and will never come back. And in a final act of determination, she cranks up the electromagnet on her wrist to its maximum power and obliterates the entity. Episode 9. Breakthrough. As Casper prepares to be put into a drug-induced coma once more, so that his consciousness can be transported to the alien mothership, Jamila suggests that she should accompany him on his mental journey, to keep him anchored to reality, realizing the potential risk of Casper losing his mind permanently. However, Monty expresses his opposition to Jamila's idea, voicing his distrust of Casper, whom he suspects has been too deeply manipulated by the aliens. Irritated by this, Casper retorts, suggesting that Monty's concern is not rooted in the fear of the aliens, but rather in his love for Jamila and the jealousy that she's chosen Casper over him. Later, after the tension has subsided, Casper seeks reconciliation with Monty, approaching him to express his gratitude for the risks he took to find him, and apologizes for his previous remarks. Despite seemingly accepting the apology and admitting that he does, in fact, love Jamila, Monty advises Casper to let go of her if he truly cares. Continuing their mission to rescue Sarah, the Movement, having infiltrated the nearby military's camp and confirming Sarah's relocation to Idabel, commandeer a military vehicle by holding the soldier driving it at gunpoint, allowing them to make their way into the Idabel base undetected. As Anisha and Clark covertly explore the building, they find Trevante and Rose behind bars, leading Trevante to convince Anisha that they can help. Upon his release, Trevante reveals that he knows Sarah's exact location, and leads Anisha through the twisting corridors, providing covering fire as she runs past the disoriented guards in search of Sarah. Just in time, Anisha spots Sarah being transported out of the base, a sight that fills her with relief, having almost resigned to the thought of never seeing her daughter again. Determined to save Sarah, Anisha shoots out the lights and cleverly calls out in Farsi, knowing that only Sarah will be able to comprehend her instructions and follow her through the darkness, leading to their reunion. Unfortunately, as they emerge from the base, they're confronted by the remaining soldiers outside, leading to their capture once again. Episode 10. Old Friends, New Frontiers. While continuing their search of the military base, Rose and Trevante finally stumble upon many of the missing individuals, who appear to be in a catatonic state, completely disconnected from the world around them despite their eyes being wide open. When Rose is startled by what she sees, Trevante informs her that these people were found in this condition, as according to General Mitchell, the commander of the base, they were presumably abducted by the aliens and returned in this state. In the nearby town, a fierce battle with the aliens ensues. Upon receiving assistance from the exceptional children, who, despite still being in Paris, are able to communicate with him through their meditative stance, Luke finds himself empowered, which enables him to prevent the aliens from attacking by freezing them in place. Recognizing their inability to harm Luke, the aliens resort to opening a portal aimed at him, ready to consume him in his state of exhaustion. And as the portal nears, Clark proves his loyalty by rushing to Luke and carrying him to safety, further infuriating the portal. In Paris, as Casper is prepared to be put under, Jamila offers him encouraging words, and although she's decided not to join him on the journey to the alien mothership, believing she's done her part, she urges him to continue communicating with her through her dreams. With deep appreciation for everything that Jamila has done so far, Casper accepts this as he's put under, allowing his mind to be teleported to the mothership. In the Amazon, as Mitsuki tries to reactivate her portal by mentally reconnecting with it, Maya constantly reminds her of their shared memories over the past few days, in an attempt to prevent her from losing her mind completely to the aliens. Realizing that this could be their only chance at defeating the aliens, Mitsuki implores Maya to let her go. This leads Maya to helplessly watch on as Mitsuki surrenders herself to the aliens, who consume her mind and leave her body in a comatose state. As a result of Mitsuki's sacrifice, Trevante watches as the raging portal in Idabel stabilizes. Recognizing this as his lone shot, he bids farewell to Rose and dons the protective suit of a fallen soldier. As Trevante readies himself to enter the portal, General Mitchell hands him a shard, suggesting that it might prove useful in the alien realm. With a final glance and smile at Rose, Trevante steps into the portal just as it vanishes. Instantly teleported to the mothership, Trevante finds himself in a gloomy, otherworldly labyrinth. With his weapon primed, he begins to navigate through the intricate network of sapphire corridors, and experimenting with the shard, He touches it to a wall and observes that it seems to interact with it. All of a sudden, he hears a voice behind him, startling him, and upon turning around, a wave of relief washes over him when he sees Casper, whose face lights up at the sight of Trevante joining him on his uncertain journey. Without a moment's hesitation, Trevante follows Casper towards a colossal, towering structure that appears to be the power source of the alien hive mind, and hoping to put an end to the alien invasion and restore peace to their world, Trevante steps forward, not realizing that Casper's eyes have changed color and taken on an eerily alien form. If you like what you just saw, consider sharing it or maybe drop a like, and if you want to see more recaps on the latest and greatest TV shows, consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a new video. I appreciate everyone who watched. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end. For now, BingeBot is logging off.